Hello, welcome to the Lunch and Chat with Leslie show. I'm your host, Leslie Parker. Thank you so much for joining me in tonight's broadcast. This broadcast is going to be about real estate. That to let you know that real estate isn't complicated. It's only complicated if you don't hire the right agent, if you're not prepared, or you just don't know how to deal with unexpected issues. So I'm going to try to walk you through what real estate looks like on the buyer side and on the seller side. So just stay with me. I will be sharing some documents with you, but I wanted to, first of all, thank you and let you know that this program, it means a lot to, I'm sure, a lot of viewers out there who are stuck with trying to make a decision. Should I buy now or should I sell? Now, obviously, it is a seller's market. And I want to be honest with you. The market is different. It is not your typical market. It's just really strange, but you can get through this. Matter of fact, I've been working with some clients earlier throughout this year, helping them find a house that they would like to have. And the sellers, because it is a seller's market, the houses are now being priced extremely high. And for that reason, my sellers had decided to go with a new build, which to me, it makes sense if you get to the point where you're competing with other people to buy a house that's $350,000, but you're going to bid $450,000. It just doesn't make sense. That's why it's important to hire an agent. That's why I told you that real estate, it isn't complicated. It really is a wonderful, rewarding experience to happen. I wanted to also mention to you that I will be covering some other topics the rest of this month. I have someone next week that will be coming on to talk about organizing. It's a professional organizer. So if you are a seller looking to sell your house, you might want to hire a professional organizer. And she will be joining us. I will be putting that out on the broadcast in Facebook very shortly. So we have the professional organizer coming, and then also have in the month of May, I will be having someone that is a financial coach to kind of help you get through some of the financial struggles that you may be going through for making a decision to buy. So thank you again for joining the broadcast. But I wanted to kind of like take you over what the buying process is. This is where we're going to talk on the buyer's end. The buying process is typically, if you are going to be a buyer, you first of all need to reach out to a lender. You shouldn't reach out to an agent first. Reach out to a lender, because the agent's gonna tell you, before I even take you out to see any homes, you have to be pre-approved. So reach out to a lender. Also find an agent that you're comfortable with. If it's someone that you've been knowing for a while, I mean, like for me, I am an agent, but if you, I'm not trying to push myself on you, but I do know what I'm doing in the industry. I've been doing it for 15 years as a real estate agent. And I'm going to tell you, even if you come upon someone that is just in the game, that's just new, everyone has a start. Think about your job when you started. You didn't know technically how to do everything. So you had to be trained. And that's with any agent out here. Just because that agent is $1 million producer or a $10 million producer doesn't mean that is the greatest agent. Agent relationship to me is very important. Make sure the agent that you select, it's a good fit for you. It's a good fit for both of you. I can tell you in the past, I worked with a buyer, and this buyer, she was just like pulling at me. I don't know what was going on with her, but it probably wasn't her right time to buy. But I know that ethically, we have to, as a buyer, I mean, as a buyer's agent, our fiduciary relationship is with that buyer. Just like if I'm dealing with a seller, my fiduciary relationship is with the seller. So now that I got that out the way, I mentioned to you that you hire an agent, and also make sure you kind of like ask how long the agent has been in business, because it is important just to have a general idea how long they've been doing this. Now, there are 3 documents that are very important before you even start that relationship with that agent. And the agent will present to you what's called a buyer's exclusive buyer's agreement. I'm going to show that to you in a minute on the screen. The exclusive buyer's agreement means that you will do business just with that agent, not 10 other agents anywhere else. And I'm going to tell you why it's important to have that relationship, because when you know, it's just like hiring your own personal assistant or an accountant or whatever, you know that that agent has your best interest at heart. So it is important that you can have that relationship with that agent, and you guys can build upon that. So I'm going to, besides that, there are 2 other documents. There's going to be understanding who agents represent and consent for dual agency. So I'm going to show you the buyer's representation first, and then I'll show you understand who agents represent and consent for dual agency. What the understanding whom agents represent is basically what I went over. It's meaning that you understand that I am your, if you're a buyer, I am the buyer's agent. I'm your buyer's agent, and my relationship is with you. And whatever contract that we submit, the other agent on the seller side, they will also have their seller sign an exclusive buyer, an exclusive, understanding who agent represents, so that I know that their fiduciary relationship is with them. Okay. And finally, the consent for dual agency. That just means that if we found a house, I'm with Executive Home Realty, and I took you to see a house somewhere in Owings Mills, and it just happened to be another Executive Home realtor, then that means that I should present to you that you are okay with me doing business with that other agent, because we're from the same brokerage, Executive Home Realty. All right, so I'm going to show you in just a second. Give me 1 second here. All right. Okay. I'm gonna go back here. I kind of use myself as a guide just for an example. Okay, so remember I told you about the exclusive buyer tenant representation. Okay, I'm going to bring this up for you so you can see it. All right, there you go. All right, so let me go back here, and hopefully I'm going to make it larger so you can see it. There you go. All right, so hopefully you can. Give me 1 second. Okay, so what you have in front of you is called an exclusive buyer tenant representation brokerage agreement. Now, I know you're going to laugh. Yes, Barack Obama in my dreams and Michelle Obama, I have them listed as my clients. And of course, this is just fictitious. I'm just kind of taking you through what it looks like. So this is what it looks like. You're going to have, as a buyer, you're going to have your agent's going to fill out this section. The broker's going to fill out this section. Buyer authorization, meaning that, you know, the buyer shall include the terms is regarding the buyer seeks the following property, a Maryland residential real estate. And I will say that a buyer agency agreement can be ended, you know, mutually, but it is important to establish a buyer agency tenant agreement. This way, you know that, hey, I'm going to be, if I have that agreement with you, then I'm going to be your agent for this set period of time. So I put here April the 20th to October the 20th. That's 6 months time. To have you sign this for just 1 month, it just wouldn't be, to me, feasible, because it takes time. By the time you submit your offer and everything like that, time has gone by. So that's what part of this is, the buyer agency term. And here, as required under the Section 17 code, whatever, the parties agree to the following provision if it is terminated, that agreed upon by both parties in writing, or 3 days written notice from the agent or the buyer. Now, I'm going to go over just some responsibilities. A lot of buyers don't understand this. Once you hire an agent and you want that agent to represent you, it is important that you have responsibilities just like the broker does, that you will work exclusively with that agent and with that relationship. Financial information, you will furnish the broker with any necessary and personal information that is needed to get the process going on, whether you're purchasing a house or a property. don't worry about the signs of the advertisement for the property. If you happen to see them, certain signs, you will definitely let your broker know. Always say, let your, agent know that, hey, I saw this house for sale. Do you mind looking it up on Maris and checking it out for me? Okay, so that's one thing there. And new home builders, the way new home builders work is that you actually have to, your agent has to walk to that place for you. They have to walk you to the builder's site, and they also have to, if it's an open house, they should be present. If they're not present, you have to let them know for the open house that you are working with an agent. And I'm going to go over just the broker's responsibility. As I mentioned to you, I have, as an agent, I have my fiduciary relationship is with you. So I have to adhere to certain things as well. I have to locate property for you. I just can't, you hire me and I never send you any property or do what I call it my due diligence. So it is important to me to make sure that I do my due diligence with you. And you assist the buyer, any way that you can. Now, down here, it says broker's compensation. I'm going to explain this to you. So when you see this agreement, it's basically just saying that the compensation paid by the buyers typically paid by the seller. So I put in here that it's paid by the seller per the MLS. And I'm going to show you what the MLS looks like. That's multiple listing service, plus any admin fee that's associated with this. Okay, so that's pretty much the buyer agreement in a nutshell. And if you notice, there's certain addendums. So if I needed to attach consent for dual agency, I would select this. I would check this box off right here like I did. And if I was your relative, I would have to disclose that I'm related to you. That's called a disclosure of licensee status addendum. All right. Yes, I am related to the Obamas. I know. All right. Now I'm going to show you what understanding agencies, what that looks like. Understanding who agents represent. All right. It's in here. It's probably down the bottom. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. This is not a contract, like it says. It's just information. It's a disclosure to let you know who represents you. So you have a seller's agent, and then you have the buyer's agent. So in this case, I'm talking about the buyer. I'm your buyer's agent. So down here, I would put, I put sellers. I do apologize because I have this for the seller side. But I would click here for that I'm the buyer, tenants acknowledge receipt of this disclosure, that Executive Home Realty and I just put a different name here, Lesalita Smith. That's for the other side, but it would be me. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to take you from there, and then I'm going to take you to consent for dual agency. All right. Consent for dual agency, as I mentioned to you, is that you are consenting that it's okay in the event that there is another agent that's involved in the deal. Like I may have, I'm working at Executive Home Realty, and my agent, another agent at the place, actually is the one that is listing the home, and you're okay with that. So you're consenting that Executive Home Realty can act as a dual agent. They can do it for the seller or the buyer. So those are the basic documents I want to go over with you. Now, I want to also go over with you the contract. The contract is 11 pages long, and this is what it looks like. Give me 1 second here. I got my glasses on. It's coming. I just had it. Come on, contract. Where is it? Here it is, right here. All right. This is the most important. I call it the meat and potatoes of it. A contract in itself is one part. It's the core part of presenting an offer. Then you have your addendums, your disclosures, and everything. That what makes up the contract. Okay, so this is a sample, again, residential contract of sale. Whatever property you see, we would date the offer for that day. I have the seller's information here. The seller is Sharice Parker, and the buyer is Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. Woo woo. And so here the seller to buyer of the following description property, and it will have the address here. It also has here that the state, I put here that the property is conveyed two different ways. It can be conveyed fee simple, or ground rent. Ground rent is when you have to pay a fee. You don't own the ground, but you can buy the ground out towards settlement. So you can pay it ahead of time. And then they would have to just say seller will not redeem. Okay, the purchase price. I put here that this person, they're going to buy for $900,000 and they want to make an offer via check. They're going to put $100,000 down. Whew, that would be a great deal. That money is held in a non-interest bearing account. And also put here a settlement date. I put a fictitious settlement date of May the 21st. Let's say we put the offer in today, May the 21st, 30 days from now. Even though that is put in there, we can also get extensions if the other parties agree to it. But I just put that for the sake of showing you this. Okay, this particular buyer is going to be conventional financing addendum, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. The next section of the contract talks about financing application and commitment. There's a difference. Now, I'm going to show you the difference between an approval letter and a commitment letter. An approval letter is just showing that you are pre-approved or pre-qualified to buy this house. And what the sellers want to know is, okay, I got your approval letter, I got the deal, I got everything together. How many days will you start putting in the loan application? So, or for financing. So in this case, it's 7 days. So it could be anywhere, it could be 7 days, 10 days, but it takes about, it doesn't take long to put it in. We try, they try to get so much time to put it in. Time is of the essence with everything, with real estate. All right, now, then the next section, it says financing commitment by the buyer. Well, the buyer here has said that, in 25 days, I'll have a letter of commitment. That means the lender has committed to doing the loan. And now it can go into underwriting so that we can get everything moving. This is when the ball starts and everything takes place. Now, of course, this is depending on if this offer is accepted. So you still got to go through the process of filling out this information. Now, what you see here is a section that says inclusions and exclusions. Generally, this information is received ahead of time. As an agent, what I do is I get it off the listing and I put it in to match it up to make sure, okay, they're including the alarm. They got a built-in microwave. So it should match up. And if there are any additional items here, then inclusions, then they could be specified in this section here. Or if maybe the sellers, they're including a playground swing or something like that. But you may not want it. So what this is going to do is kind of help you decide whether or not, what you like to keep and what you won't like to keep. And also it kind of, secures everything that was in agreement. All right. So all this other stuff, I'm not going to go through, just talks about renovation, repair, and the seller's responsibility, what they have to do. Now we're going to go to the addendum disclosures. So we have a couple of things I have checked off. Disclosure of the licensing status. Some things you have to include your local city and county notice of disclosures. If the house had lead-based paint, if it was built before 1978, then that disclosure would have to be included. Notice to buyer and seller, Maryland residential real property, disclosure or disclaimer. I'll explain that to you when I show you the document. And of course, property inspections. Most people do want an inspection. In some cases, okay, I know FHA and VA, they do require an inspection, but conventional don't necessarily require it. It really depends on if they're under a strict program, like NAC, I won't say it's strict, but they have certain guidelines that even though it's conventional, you still have to have a property inspection. Okay. And the rest of this, I'm not going to go through. I just wanted you to see what it looks like. There are 11 pages to this. If you were a first-time home buyer, we would check that box off for you and present the offer. And I'm going to show you what everything will look like in just a second. This is just the buyer's information, the listing information, and everything. Okay, so I'm going to go here, and I'm going to show you the other parts of the addendum. Well, I'll show you the approval letter and all that too. But I want to show you the other things that will be included. Okay, so here's another one. This is a general addendum to the contract of sale. It's just one that has to be included. Okay, this is the requirement by real estate that the addendum is included. And in here, I have another addendum before then. So every addendum has a number. So with this one is addendum number 2. And it just tells you about, legal requirements. It summarized the ground rent and everything else. That's just kind of like a summary of everything else that was included in the contract. And you would just sign it, and that would be the end of that. Okay, now we're going to go to some other things I think is really good. So remember I told you about the convention addendum. So the person that's getting this house, they want to go conventional. So the conventional addendum would look like this. It would show the loan amount. This is, the dollar amounts. Don't pay attention to that. So it would have that $900,000 there, or whatever the difference is minus what they put down for the down payment. And it just goes to show the terms and the interest rate. And if the buyer agreed to pay a loan origination fee, it would show up here. So this is a conventional addendum. And I'll be honest with you, the buyer would communicate with the lender so that they would tell them pretty much the numbers and everything that's included. Well, conventional, there's no mortgage insurance premium, but with FHA it is. So I won't go through showing you what that is. If you have any questions for me or you want to use my services, I'll be happy to show you that. Now, appraisal. Once the house for conventional, once it's been appraised, it is up to the buyer to disclose this to the seller within 2 days, then notify the seller within 2 days from the receipt of the rent appraisal. And if it doesn't appraise, the buyer also has to release that information if it underappraised. And the seller has an opportunity to whether they want to accept it or not. So you hear their days that I put in here. Again, these are just hypothetical days. You can make them a little longer, shorter. It really depends on what your decision is with your agent and your recommended decision, with the agent. Okay, so we got that. And I want to also show you the disclosure I mentioned to you for license. So if I was related to you, I would have to disclose that I'm acting on behalf of whether it was the buyer or the seller, that I am related to you in this one here. Yes, a lot of paperwork, isn't it? All right, now I'm going to show you this one here, and then I'm going to go into the sellers, and then we're pretty much done. Okay, property inspection. I want to pull this up. This is very important. So property, well, this is the notice. I apologize. That's after if you found something wrong. So let me get the property inspection addendum. All right, here you go. All right, so you have a right as a buyer, and it's in the beginning of the contract, to a home inspection. And I pretty much, even with a new house, I was like, why not? Why not get the property inspection? This is a huge investment for you. So if for some reason, you decide not to get an inspection, then you wouldn't do this. You waiving your right to have an inspection. But most people do choose your structural and mechanical. That's pretty much a given. You have so many days to get that done. Again, as I mentioned to you, time is of the essence because we got to get through the inspections. Then we have to get through the termite inspections. Then the house has to be appraised. So all those things have to be done prior to closing. So I would recommend definitely get a structural and mechanical inspection. Now, depending on the condition of the house, you really can't tell what's behind the walls or anything like that. But if you feel that this house, because of the age or maybe because of the appearance, that you would like to have a mold inspection. Sometimes, I'm gonna be honest with you, I've walked in homes and I kind of smelt that damp smell to it. And I may let my agents know, my buyers know that I'm not sure about this. It could be something that had happened a while ago, and if they want to still present an offer, it's up to them. But I would definitely recommend a mold inspection for your health reasons. And environmental is another one. Radon, all these inspections do cost. It is your buyer's expense to choose these different inspections. Now, lead-based paint, as I mentioned to you, has an inspection. If the house was built between 1978, why not? I would do an inspection. So again, all I can do is just advise my client. It is still up to them to conduct this. They call it a risk assessment, but I would get it done. And the section right here, additional inspections, sometimes I put here anything that's recommended by the inspector. If he feels as though that there are things, maybe the plumbing or the heating, to recommend a contractor to take a look at that. A licensed contractor is very important. And this is right here, buyer's consent to right to terminate the contract. Generally, if this is initial by the buyer, sellers kind of frown upon this. But again, a buyer has a right to do that for whatever reason, for no reason at all, if they want to end the contract after the inspection. But if the seller is willing to repair some of the items, I always say, give them a chance, an opportunity. And if they're not going to repair anything, you can pretty much walk away. All right, so that's for that one. Okay. All right, so we are pretty much done with that. The notice of disclosures. I'm not going to show you all that, but this is a seller's. Oh, one more thing. You have a seller's contribution. So if you want to get your seller to contribute, this is the addendum here that you would use. And you can do a flat amount or you can do 3%. The general thing is to split it. 6% is pretty much the standard. That's the closing costs here for the state of Maryland. But I mean, it could be higher. There could be other assessments and other things that's included. But 3% is a fair amount because you're splitting it up. So you can do it that way. Okay. Great, great, great. All right. So I'm going to come back to you in a second. All right. So I hope you found so far the information has been helpful. As far as the sellers, I'm going to show you that briefly. Because I think it's important. You may be thinking about selling your house, and to be quite honest with you, it's a seller's market. So, I mean, it's a good time. But keep in mind, if you sell your house, it is still a struggle out there for you to find that replacement house. So before, I always ask these questions for my buyer. And I like these questions that I actually got this off a blog. And the questions basically, you ask your buyer, why now? What would be the reason why you would want to buy a house? I know it seems crazy. Some agents be like, okay, well, hey, I'm ready to be your agent. But again, for me, it's not all about the commission. It's about making sure you make the right informed decision. So if you are looking to purchase a house, just ask yourself that question. Why now? And where would I like to move? What area of, is it in the state? I mean, am I going to go local? Or whatever. Of course, Maryland, people that are licensed in Maryland, just Maryland, they can only help their buyers in the state of Maryland. So if you were in DC or Virginia, I would have to get licensed for that. They call it like reciprocity. I would need to be able to take the law and help you in those areas. But you do need to know where you would like, what areas you like best. You should give your agent the zip codes. Or the areas. If you don't know the zip codes, the agent can look them up and describe to the agent what type of home you would like. That'll cause some of that confusion. That's why I said real estate isn't complicated. It's just only complicated when we don't have all the information together to take us through the process. So make sure you know the type of house that you want, how much you want to spend. If you've been approved for $400,000, please don't look for an $800,000 house, because that seller is not going to come down that far. And it's just going to be really like a slap in the face if you want to lowball the sellers. So stay within your means. I mean, if you can go a little lower, that's great, to give you some wiggle room to get approved. So if you've been approved for $400,000, maybe look for a house that's like $325,000, $330,000. That would be good. Now, in terms of making sure that before you, another question, like you as a buyer, you really should figure out, okay, I know where I want to go. How long do you want to stay in your house? Because if it's a house that you feel like, well, I'll probably stay here for 4 or 5 years or something like that. Well, why not? Why make a huge investment on a house that you're only going to stay in for 4 or 5 years? If this is a house that you want to stay, be your forever house, then, that's different. You want to make that investment. But I always say location, location, location is extremely important. So keep that in mind. When you are deciding to choose a house, make sure the house will have a very good resale value. Because if you paid $300,000 for it, you at least in the next, I always say, typically it takes about 7 years or so, whatever, before you start seeing the equity, because, you know, when you purchase a house, a lot of that is not going directly, it's going to the interest, but it'll start turning around. So if the market is really good, and I'm gonna tell you, if your house is 300,000 when you buy it, and now the market is about $600,000, hey, it might be a good time to sell your house then. Now I'm gonna show you real quick what the sellers look like. Okay, give me a second. The seller's contract. This will be real quick. Okay, let me get this seller's contract for you. Oops, I can't even type. All right, it might be under here. There it is. Okay. Oh, okay. I guess that won't come up. All right. Anyway, I tried to show you that one. But I do want to show you this before I forget. I want to show you one more thing. I couldn't pull up that contract, but I have something else I do want to show you. Let's see here. Okay, what you're looking here is you're looking at Matrix. This is Maris, rather. This is an MLS system where if you told me, hey, I want a house in 21117 zip code, then I would put that in there. And you tell me, I don't want to spend no more than 500,000. So I'll put 300 to 500 in here. And I will look under, if you want it, well, that's specific zip code, but I can also search it by county. So here we go. Okay, so here are some homes that are coming. And it shows me here what the prices are for the homes. So if you want to be specific, the number of bedrooms. So let's pull this one up right here. It's a 4-bedroom house for $349. Okay. Let's see what this looks like. Interesting. Okay. Well, it wouldn't be my choice. So you know what? Let's look at another one. I don't particularly think that one's a nice one to do. So let's look at another one here. See how this house looks. Okay. This is your typical rancher. So this is going for $300,000. What I wanted you to see is not necessarily this particular house. I wanted you to understand that agents, when they go through this research for you, they look at everything. They look at the tax record, just to show you. I'm going to pull this up for you. It'll tell you who owns the house, how much they paid for it, and when it was sold. So in this case, it's $300,000. It looks like they must have had a contract on it before. Probably another broker took it. It expired on 3/8/21. So now it's active on 3/16. But back in 2003, you notice it sold for $100,000. And then in 2017, it sold for $260,000. So let's take this back here. I'm going to go back to the listing. Okay. So let's keep on going down here. I want to show you just some other things to just think about. You know, you want to make sure, remember I was telling you about the house, whether it's fee simple. I mentioned that to you before. If it was ground rent, it would be here. And your agent will give you this form. It will probably be customer synopsis of this printout so you can see the available homes. So this is what I do. I do my homework. I make sure that you get everything that you need. So I'm going to come back to you, and there we go. So I hope you've enjoyed this informative broadcast. It is really to educate you, to inform you, and to let you know that real estate agents, we work hard. We work hard. And there's some agents that don't care. I'm not that agent. I don't care about being the top agent. It's not about the money for me because, see, I work unto the Lord. So I work as God had me to work. So I do my due diligence because I do believe it comes back to the person who puts it in. Okay, I got some comments here. And hey, who we have here? Oh, okay. Hi, Gwendolyn. How are you doing? I tell you, girl, when I hit the mega million, you got it. You are always on. Thank you for your support. Hi, Donetta. Oh my gosh, Donetta's usually an early bird. I am surprised that she is up. Hi, Donetta. Thank you so much for tuning in the broadcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Oh, well, hello. Now, this young lady, I know her very well. I don't work directly with her, but I've worked with her in healthcare. Hi, Miss Yasmin Smith. It is great to see you, and thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed the topic. Okay. All right. So my daughter put here, should a person be pre-approved before they start looking for a home? Absolutely. And I got to show you, there are two letters, Nicole, I meant to share. One is a loan pre-approval and a loan commitment. So they're totally different. I won't, for the sake of time, I won't bring those up, but I've already discussed that with the viewers about that, the pre-approval letter. But yes, please, I always tell buyers, do not start looking at houses before you're pre-approved, because you'll get your hopes up high, you get disappointed. So please reach out to an agent. Even if you're not pre-approved, maybe reach out to an agent and they can direct you to some lenders that they know, or steer you in the right direction as to where to go. All right. And we have someone else here. Oh, hello, Miss Tawana Tiller. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the information. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And it's always a pleasure seeing you too. We have to catch up, Yasmin. We really do. And I'm going to do my best to give you a call. Matter of fact, I may call you tomorrow and see how you guys are doing. But I am so thrilled, to bring you this broadcast. Before I close, just to let you know that, first of all, I want to say a quick word of prayer. I know if you guys have been tuning in the station, they've talked about the case with George Floyd and the guy that the police officer that killed him, Derek Chauvin, I believe that's how you pronounce it. And he was found guilty on all three accounts. So to God be the glory that he did not get away with that terrible act, what he did. And I'm just glad that, the judge, the people, the community came together to prevail. And talking about community, this is what I do. I do this broadcast because I'm a community type person. I want to make sure that the information I bring to you, you can use it and you can apply it to your life. I hope that, all the topics that I bring to you are interesting enough for you to come back. So I do thank you for being a part of this broadcast and for being so supportive. It is really a great thing. I love it. I did this a year ago, and I know I sound like a broken record, but when I did it, I was in a really low place. And this is crazy. I was in school too, going to get my degree. But, God says, go ahead. I want you to do this podcast. So I'm learning now to follow my purpose. What my purpose in life is to encourage, to motivate, to inform, and to mentor. And I try to do it wherever I am. Here on this platform, at my job, if I'm going to the store, if I see someone that just seem to have it together, that's feeling kind of downtrodden, I'm asking God to use me. So if you want to continue to be informed and stay connected, join the lunch. Please join me next week and the week after. So I plan on doing this for the long road, as long as God gives me the strength to do it. Next Tuesday, as I mentioned to you, I will have a young lady. Actually, it'll be two young ladies. They're in business together. They have a professional organizing business. So I think it ties in really good with real estate. So once we get them on the broadcast next week, you'll see how you can prepare. So for those people that want to sell their house, you can start getting some ideas from doing that. And The following week, as I mentioned, I'll have a financial coach. She's going to kind of show you what you need to do to get yourself prepared to purchase the house. And even after you purchase your house, how we need to really get in sync. Now, when I talked to her, actually, I just met her. I can tell you when she's on the broadcast, I'm going to give you this testimony because God has been connecting me with people that are able to bring you valuable information. And every conversation that I've had has been about God. So I feel like I'm going in the right direction. I hope I am anyway. But thank you again for tuning in to the Lunch and Chat with Leslie broadcast. And I look forward to seeing you next week, next Tuesday at 7 p.m. And you have a great evening. Take care.